Welcome to the Make a Baby podcast. I'm Carolina Sotomayor, your podcast host and expert Reiki womb healer. Over the past 6 years, I've had the honor of helping over 75 babies come into the world through the power of Reiki. I believe that healing is not meant to be done alone, nor should it be. On this podcast, you'll hear amazing Reiki guided meditations, empowering healing tips, and taboo topics with a focus on inclusivity and representation. Are you ready for these conversations? I am. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Make a Baby podcast. This is episode 96. Is your fertility journey the start of your spiritual awakening? We're going to break this down. And I am so excited because this is actually something I am seeing across so many of my clients and in my community. But before we start, I want you to go ahead and go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and I want you to leave us a 5-star rating and review. Every review helps us reach more and more listeners. And recently, you've been ranking top 500 in some countries, top 50 in Canada, top 50 in the United States. So every review and every download and every listen helps. So thank you so much for helping us reach all of those milestones. We're on a special week this week. We're posting one episode every day this week on our journey to episode 100. And we couldn't have made it this far without you. So thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you so much for being here. We're so grateful for you. So let's dive in. What is a spiritual awakening? A spiritual awakening is often misunderstood, but it is often dismissed. So what I really want you to understand is that it comes after a profound sense of connection to your higher self, greater than your higher self, a higher power, the universe. And a spiritual awakening is essentially that, an awakening within yourself that didn't exist before. But what causes a spiritual awakening? In my experience, this comes when there's significant trauma, when there is death. In my case, when the loss of my dad spurred my spiritual awakening. So in the case of fertility, there are so many aspects of fertility that a lot of people don't talk about, and how fertility can lead you to have trauma. If you're going the IVF route, there are certainly painful medications, injections, but also like if you do the pharmaceutical route, if you take Clomid, there could be trauma from taking that medication. There's significant side effects that are very physical, but also then there's potential loss. So if you're going through a fertility journey, most women are struggling with so many different things, with their body not working the way it's supposed to. They could have lost a baby. They could be struggling to have their period restored or have a consistent period. They might be having hormonal changes. So there are so many aspects that could cause trauma. But overall, when you're trying to conceive and it's not happening naturally and it's not happening with ease and flow, then that's a disappointment. And those emotions can be messy and they can be really complicated. So I think it's really important to understand that a lot of women now, as our consciousness, as a collective, as a community, as the world, our vibration is increasing. Your fertility journey very well could be the start of your spiritual awakening, or you might be already in it and not be aware of it. So a spiritual awakening is definitely going to happen after something significant has shifted you and changed you. And that's going to come from usually something bad, usually something negative where you're like, I'm done with this. Patterns and connections that you like previously overlooked. You're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I need more answers. So with the spiritual awakening comes an increased heightened awareness for wanting of answers, asking the question, why? Why is it like this? Why do we do things this way? Why does it have to be this way? Is there a better way of doing it? And you start to ask yourself, what is the meaning of all of this? What is the meaning of this particular choice? What is the meaning of us doing it this way? Why am I struggling with this? What is the cause of this? And ultimately, when we are asking these questions, I always like to encourage people and recommend is to ask, what is the lesson I need to receive in this moment? What is it that I need to accept right now in this moment so that I can expand, grow, and have my breakthrough? The reason why a lot of people get stuck in their spiritual awakening is they don't ask that question. They don't ask, what do I need to learn? What do I need to accept? And what do I need to know to have my breakthrough? Once you have the breakthrough, you have the awareness, you've accepted what is happening, you've accepted what is the lesson, and then you can move forward. With the breakthrough, then you get to the other side of it. So now when it comes to fertility, this is so specific. With a spiritual awakening, you're looking for meaning, you're looking for answers. And it's quite possible your spiritual journey is the start of your awakening, or it may have happened before your fertility journey. I did get a question recently. Can spiritual awakenings happen more than once? Yes, they can. We call it a reawakening, or some people might call it a dark night of the soul, which are kind of different, but they're very similar. A reawakening is basically a deepening of an awareness or a deeper healing that needs to happen. Significant changes have to be made so that you can have a deeper sense of purpose and more positive changes can come through. Specifically, most people I know that have had dark night of the souls, I've had a few of them, is when you feel like every corner is on fire of your life and it's like a deep depression, a deep anxious period of time, and you are really going through it and you're like, how am I going to get out of this? And you really are forced to sit with your emotions, and you're forced to sit with, okay, I made these choices, I don't understand them. It's not necessarily that you made bad decisions. It just could be like you're going through it. I remember I went through a dark night of the soul probably 2 years ago, and it lasted about 3 months, and it was a really difficult time. And I had shed a lot of friends. I had shed a lot of belief systems, and I had let go of everything that was causing me stress. And I even got a new business coach, and I changed even a lot of how we operate in the online space. And it really altered how I operated as a person, how I connected to people. So a dark night of the soul and a reawakening is not necessarily meant to break you, or a lot of people believe that oh my goodness, that's going to break me. No, it's what do you need to learn at this moment? The older I get, the more I realize how little I know. And that humbles me. But I'm always seeking to know more. I'm always seeking to know why as much as I can. I'm a curious person, and I accept faults. I make mistakes just like anyone else. But with our awakenings, we also develop a higher consciousness. We start to see how things are connected. We start to see how the world around us is connected, how one person led to one conversation that led you to somewhere else, that led you to where you are now. And you start to see how oneself is operating in the world amongst this web of relationships. It's really beautiful. With me and my spiritual awakening, my father had died, and that spurred a wanting to know more about the spirituality. Death is a very bizarre thing. Grief is a very confusing and bizarre thing. What happened after my dad died was I was seeking to speak to him. I didn't understand how a person went from being able to speak every day on the telephone to not being able to speak at all. And I really, really wanted to talk to my dad and have that connection. I thrived off of it, and it was something that my soul deeply yearned for. So I started taking meditation classes, learning about the spiritual side because I didn't know anything, and church wasn't helping. So I learned to become a medium. And there's a lot of gifts that come out of spiritual awakenings. I learned that I was a gifted medium. I learned that I was a gifted healer. I learned that there was more purpose in my life than my career that was literally sucking the soul out of me. I literally learned through my dad's death what I was meant to do, which is this: help women conceive their babies with Reiki. And it took a long time. So my greatest advice, if you are going through your spiritual awakening, and you are going through your fertility journey, have compassion for yourself. Not everything comes overnight. My father died 9 years ago. So I didn't instantly know how to channel. I didn't instantly know how to speak to him directly and not another entity. I didn't know how to heal. I didn't know that I could speak to people who passed. I didn't know that I could see inside wombs. But if you develop a practice of self-compassion, a spiritual practice, a mindful practice, meditation, cutting cords, maybe you're pulling cards, you're learning about patterns within yourself, you certainly can develop a higher consciousness that is going to be peaceful and more compassionate and healing of yourself. You're capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. And the more that you have a higher vibration or higher consciousness, the easier it will be for you to connect to your baby. So, with all of this, is your fertility journey the start of your spiritual awakening? It could be. For a lot of women, it is. And maybe that is not something we've really talked about before. Now, if you're interested in talking about this further, please send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. Come follow me at the Carolina Sotomayor. I'd love to know what you thought about this episode. And also, friends, I want you to go to the show notes where I've put a link into the Reiki Babies Vortex. This is a healing your womb movement. This is my free community where I go live every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, answer your questions, and you can connect with other women who are wanting to get pregnant and heal their wombs. So next week, we're going to be switching to one episode a week, but we have a present, as I said, this week we are publishing an episode every single day. So stay tuned to tomorrow, and we are going to be having a beautiful step-by-step guide on fertility, womb healing, and meditation. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have the best day. Let the Reiki flow. Feeling hopeless in your fertility journey, fearful that you'll never become pregnant? The Make a Baby membership was created just for you, using the exact methods of Reiki that helped me conceive my son. We've helped over 75 babies come into this world by removing blockages from the womb and body with our powerful Reiki techniques. Visit carolinasotomayor.com to join the Make a Baby membership today.